Welcome to Smash 79. Today we're diving deep into one of the most intense and historic sports still played today, Calcio Storico Fiorentino, or historic Florentine football. Imagine football, soccer, rugby, and MMA all combined into one brutal game. With its origins tracing back to the Roman Empire, this sport has a rich history and remains a vital part of Florence's culture. Stick around to learn about its fascinating history, unique rules, and why it's more than just a sport. It's a tradition that represents the heart and soul of Florence. Calcio Storico's origins can be traced all the way back to harpastum, a ball game played by Roman soldiers to keep fit and train for combat. Over time, this evolved into a more structured form, eventually becoming what we now know as Calcio Storico Fiorentino. The first official match took place in 1530 during a siege on Florence by the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V. Despite the city being under attack, the Florentines defiantly played Calcio Storico to show their resilience and strength. The game flourished throughout the Renaissance and became a favored pastime of the noble class. Even popes participated in matches. It was more than just a sport. It was a demonstration of power and prestige in a city that was at the heart of European culture and politics during the Renaissance. Over the centuries, Calcio Storico evolved from a game played by aristocrats to a public spectacle. It faded in popularity by the 18th century, but was revived in 1930 by the fascist government to commemorate its historical significance during the 400th anniversary of the 1530 siege match. This revival formalized the modern version of the sport, as we know it today. Despite some changes to adapt the game for modern audiences, its core spirit, combining brute force with tactical play, remains intact. The evolution of the game mirrors Florence's resilience, just like during the siege. Over time, the people have kept the tradition alive as a testament to their historical pride and cultural identity. Calcio Storico is played annually in June, and it's far from a regular football match. There are 4 teams representing the historic districts of Florence: the Bianchi, white; Azzurri, blue; Rossi, red; and Verdi, green. Matches take place in Piazza Santa Croce on a sand-covered field. Each team consists of 27 players with 15 forwards, corridori; 5 midfielders, sconciatori; 3 fullbacks, datori innanzi; and 4 goalkeepers, datori indietro. The objective? Score by getting the ball into the opposing team's net, or caccia. But this isn't just about scoring goals. Physical combat is part of the game, and players are allowed to punch, kick, and wrestle their opponents into submission. Matches last 50 minutes with no breaks, and the team with the most caccia at the end of the match wins. While it may seem chaotic, there are a few rules. No head kicks or assaults on players not actively engaged in a fight. However, that's where the rules mostly end, making it a highly physical and unpredictable sport. While the game may appear to be a chaotic brawl, there's a deep level of strategy involved. Players need to balance combat and ball movement. Teams often form defensive walls, with players like the sconciatori and datori innanzi holding back opponents to create openings for the forwards to break through and attempt to score. A key tactic is to neutralize as many opponents as possible, essentially opening up the field for a clear path to the goal. Communication and quick thinking are critical, as the game shifts between offensive plays and intense one-on-one combat. The violence may seem uncontrolled, but every team has a game plan. For the best players, success requires both brute strength and tactical awareness. Calcio Storico is much more than just a sport for the people of Florence. It's a ceremonial connection to the city's Renaissance past. Before each match, a grand parade, called the Corteo Storico, winds through the city streets, with participants dressed in full Renaissance regalia, playing drums, trumpets, and other period instruments. The entire city of Florence becomes immersed in the celebration, and the Piazza Santa Croce is transformed into an arena filled with spectators. For the players and fans alike, this tradition ties them to their ancestors, reinforcing Florence's cultural identity. The very place where the game is played, in the shadow of Santa Croce, connects it to both Florence's spiritual and historical legacy. In the modern era, Calcio Storico has drawn attention far beyond Florence. Documentaries from platforms like National Geographic and media outlets have covered this fierce and ancient game. Though it's a deeply local tradition, it has fascinated international audiences who marvel at its brutality and historical roots. Despite this, the game remains uniquely Florentine, with only local players competing and upholding the city's traditions. The commitment of these players goes far beyond sport. They are ambassadors of Florence's legacy, representing their city with pride and honor. When compared to modern sports, Calcio Storico stands apart. In football, soccer, or rugby, there are structured rules that protect players from extreme physical harm. But in Calcio Storico, physical combat is expected and often celebrated. Unlike football, where teamwork and skill are key, Calcio Storico combines raw aggression, teamwork, and survival instincts. This contrast is stark, especially when compared to today's highly commercialized sports. Calcio Storico is unfiltered and driven by a deep-rooted tradition, giving it a primal edge that modern sports have largely lost. So, what makes Calcio Storico so special? It's not just the violence or the sheer physicality of the game. It's the history, the tradition, and the pride that Florentines have for this centuries-old sport. While the world looks on in awe, for the people of Florence, Calcio Storico is a symbol of resilience and cultural identity. Thanks for joining us today. If you ever find yourself in Florence in June, don't miss the opportunity to see Calcio Storico live. It's a spectacle unlike any other. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below on what you found most fascinating about this incredible game. This was Smash 79. Remember, there's always more to come. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired.